You are now tuned in to Unorthodox Gypsy, the podcast that delves into what makes people tick. Live life through other people's experiences. Anyone, anywhere, anything.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unorthodox Gypsy. I am your host, Alexandria, and this is my mom, Amaya Harley.
Yes.
So, what's your story?
My story. Huh, I don't know.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your early life. So, before mom status, what was your life like growing up?
Oh, okay. Well, I was born in Utah. I was one of the only Catholics there. And anyhow, we moved to Idaho in when I was 11. So I had actually a good childhood. I wasn't the perfect home scene you would expect.
What were your parents like?
Oh, well, my dad worked a lot. He was the primary breadwinner. Mother stayed home. I wouldn't call her domesticated, but not so much. But she was, she had her own things in her own head going on. So yeah. It was interesting. I was more latchkey in a sense because she would sleep a lot during the day. So anyhow, later to find out she was an alcoholic. But anyhow.
How old were you when you learned that she was an alcoholic?
When I learned that? Oh, probably in my teens. Later teens. I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is. And that's why that was. So I didn't have like the mother-daughter thing where, I always had short hair. She did take me get, dental cleanings done. I got my hair cut, but day to day, just whatever. I was the weirdest kid ever, I guess. But I was very much myself. I was a unique person and much myself. It caused issues and I was made fun of course. I didn't have I smelled like cigarette smoke going to school with all the Mormons, in Utah. And the funny thing is I had a sleepover party and invited the Mormons over and stuff. Cause they actually kind of liked me when I was 4th, 5th grade. They kind of liked me. I was still made fun of, but they liked me. And I invited Mormons. And so my mom allowed us to watch Flashdance. Yeah. And they thought that was the greatest thing. But I mean, I'm sure I was not popular with any of their parents after that. But they're probably never allowed at my house again. But they went. I mean, kids back then, we stayed out till 11:30 under the street lights, you know. So maybe felt like I was more judged than I wasn't. And I think that's my personality anyway. I'm an insecure person,
It takes a lot of vulnerability in order to say that about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've earned a lot of humility in my life, so I've learned it and not earned it, but I've
learned it.
I am, I like to show that I'm a humiliated person. I like to be, it's something that people can't admit that they're wrong or, whatever. And so I try to be that person, to try to be the example.
Why do you feel like you take it upon yourself to set that example? Like, do you feel like there's influences
it's something that bugs me about the world?
Okay. So that leads me into another question that I had is like, what is your view? Like, what do you think of the world today? Not politics, not any of that, but like, what is your overall view of the world today?
If you take the politics out, the religion out, the everything out, the world is beautiful. I see beauty every day. Going for a walk, looking at my cute puppy dogs, beautiful. I don't know. The definition of beauty.
Okay. So, and that's pretty unique because a lot of people are like, they don't see the beauty and then seek the bad. It's always like the other way around. They always see the bad and then they have to like go out of their way to seek the beauty. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. I find the ugliness is with when you start separating things and again, nobody wants to admit that we're all one or whatever. Like it's hard for people to admit, and that's how I feel. I feel like we're all from one place, you know,
Yeah.
not delivered here from one place, and we made it here somehow or for some reason. But yeah, but in everyone else has their own opinion. It has to be this way or my way or the highway, you know. Like I'm not going to be your friend if we can't agree on this or whatever. And really it they say they're not that way, but they're not going to go hang out with somebody who doesn't believe in their beliefs.
Right.
You know, so you're going to be the separation. So if you take that separation, I'm not even worried about people. I think the world, looking at it as an observer, say I was a star in the sky looking at it, and by the way, stars are visible, or they're not visible during the day, but they're still there. Watching down on the earth and just watching it and seeing it go, seeing everything happen, the beauty of the earth in general, and then watching people, it is kind of sad to watch them, you know, stuck in their bones all the time, you know, because I grew up in a different time frame. I got to see the other side of it. So it kind of, for me, that's sad because we didn't have that connection, and there's just things I feel, that's the part that makes me sad, I guess. You know,
which part? Like, elaborate a little bit more.
That you don't have that connection
because of like media or internet or cell phones or
internet. I want to say cell phones. Cell phones are kind of cool. You can bring them with you and call people, but internet. I think internet has, and here we are, you know, on a internet thing. So I can't fault it completely. I know there's a purpose. I know there's a reason, but I think there's a lot of it went way too fast. Too quick. People got hold of things, and now it's just you're never going to come back from it, you know. I hate to say never and forever, though. I hate those two words, but I don't know if I'm answering this right. However, you look at porn, you know, you used to have to go be a certain age and buy a magazine to look at, or go to an adult video store,
which would be DVD. So awkward thinking about now. Like, hey,
yeah. So you got porn and everything's exposed, and then people can steal kids easier. You know, it's the speed highway of communication. I think that's what really what it is. You know,
do you think like the world is just faster?
Oh, time, yes. Absolutely. I didn't ever think I was going to get through grade school. but let's just say from the time, you know, I was probably my right when I got married. That's about when the internet started. From then on, it seems like time has just not stopped. I mean, it is zoomed. And talk about the last, I want to say 7 years. I feel like they have gone by even faster. And I was just kept thinking, you know, I look at the sky and I think about the sky a lot, where, you know me. And I like astrology, and it's taught me a lot about astronomy because astrologers were the first astronomers. Ha! Anyway, so back to the story. But when you're looking at that, you understand the Earth axis too. The axis of the Earth and how it pivots and how it actually turns. And the 26,000 years, it's gone like, I don't know, 2 to 5 degrees. I'm not very technical, but anyhow, 2 to 5 degrees. And that's why the weather is changing. Now, if it wasn't for the people changing the weather, but, and that has been going on since I think the 70s chemtrails. Yeah. Anyhow, so you just have to wonder if maybe that's sped time up, you know, something like that too. But I know the internet, and I know, hey, the planet Uranus, no, not Uranus, Uranus. I love that. Anyway,
I'll still call it Uranus.
Yeah.
Just for shits and giggles.
I know. Just because it throws people off. But then you can't think. So you got to hear me out here. But the planet Uranus is what created this technology. And I don't know. I like technology too. So I'm kind of I'm kind of a toss up at that. I really am. I hate it and I love it.
Yeah.
I hate the bad things about it. I love some of the aspects. So there's that.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
And everyone's probably with me on that.
Yeah. No, and well, but then I think about like my kids. They don't know anything other than that. Like, at least when I was growing up, we didn't have internet for a while.
Mm-mm.
you know?
Right.
And then when we did, it's not like we were on it all the time. It wasn't until I was like a late teenager that I was like, oh, I'm going to have like a MySpace and a Facebook account. But even then, it wasn't until I was a young adult that I actually utilized it a lot.
Right.
But my kids, they don't know anything other than the internet.
Right.
So I'm like, what is that going to do?
The only thing I know. I don't, and I have to go back. I mean, my husband's very devout in his thoughts and process, you know. I don't know, but like I will have conversations and I have to think, okay, whether I like it or not, I'm not going to be here forever.
Right.
They're the next generation. And they have the internet and they're going to know a little bit more what to do with it and how to counteract what I don't like about it. Maybe they love it. And the world's going to be for them. It's not going to be for me anymore. You know, so whatever. So I have to give that perspective.
That is a really good point and a good perspective. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, we can't just be, and whether I like it or not, I want my last few years or whatever I got left on the earth, whether it's 20 to 50, no, I don't think it's 50 years, but I don't want to live that long. But I'm sure would like to live another 20, hopefully 30. That's hopeful. But anyhow, and I want to enjoy it. But I don't know if I can enjoy it because I get so convoluted with all the bad internet stuff.
Yeah.
That I don't like to see out there and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I've thought about it on my way here. Actually, I don't know what brought it up, but I was thinking about like how, because everything's apps, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's apps now.
Yeah.
There's no like brochures. That was kind of before my time anyway, but there's no like, you rarely actually fill out paperwork and send it in anymore. It has to be on an app or, through the internet or whatever. And I just think about how complicated that must be for like, the boomer generation.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's like a lot of them left, but, and that sounds kind of rude to say, but I'm not meaning it in a rude sense. It's just, people are aging. And, but imagine how overwhelming that has to be for people who didn't grow up with internet at all. Mm-hmm. At all. I mean, it came on the scene when they were already like, in their 50s, probably. Mm-hmm. Somewhere around there.
Well, you know what I would do? I would hire somebody to do my damn resume. Okay. I don't want to do a resume.
Oh, yeah.
It's as simple as it is. Now, when I got out of the military, that was part of our exiting. We were supposed to build a resume. Well, there's a lot to resumes if you do it right. And I would have done it right. But in my thought process is I'm never going back to work. Whatever. But I don't know. I got sick of that real quick. Anyway, so I decided to go do something. But luckily I'm able to. So, but anyhow, with that thought in mind, it's like I would hire somebody to help me do it and send it in or whatever I got to do. Make one for me.
Right.
That's the point it is. I was so happy with the bus driver. It was paper, even though you, my millennial child, got to help me put it into typing, on the computer. You know what I mean? Otherwise I'd be like, oh no, I can't even get this to type on there. Why? And I'm only 49, and I should know some of that because it wasn't that long ago. And my military job, I sat at a computer all damn day, so at a desk. Well, most of my part of my career.
Well, I think it's interesting that you even brought up resumes at all because like something newer that's happening now is less resume, right? They're going out with resumes and they're doing like virtual resumes rather. Yeah.
What does that entail?
So it's kind of like a video about yourself. So they actually get an in-person, right? A virtual version of yourself. They get to play on your personality a little bit before they interview you. They get to see what you look like.
Wow.
That sort of stuff.
Huh.
It is a little biased, I think.
Yeah.
But that is something that is happening and I'm seeing a lot more of. Mm-hmm. Or alternatively, they don't see you at all and you work remotely and they never meet you. They never see you.
Yeah.
You're just like this
thing.
Yeah. A bot. You could be a bot.
Yeah.
They could have hired a bot. They don't know.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not against those things. I guess I don't hate technology, but but it can create, I think, life too fast. It can make things go too fast, and then you don't have you don't have this,
Right.
okay? You don't have this because we're texting. We're looking at our phone texting. And that's where I give up and go, I can't text fast enough. I'm just going to call. But, yeah. I watched you text when you were a teenager. Like, I was like going, wow.
And now it's just like, I'm like, oh, this is just too much work. Like,
Yeah.
But I'm the worst because I don't actually like phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, texting is all right if it's short and sweet. But I really don't like phone calls at all. I don't really like in-person stuff that much either. And the reason why is because I hate small talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really hate just mundane small talk.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't have rich detail, it's not going to stimulate my brain. Like,
Yeah.
don't bother. And that's
Yeah.
why I think I like the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
is because I can actually have an in-depth conversation with someone, and we're not talking about the damn weather.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I know. Even though the weather at my age becomes pretty important.
Well, it's important, sure, but, like, it's not enriching my brain.
Yeah. It also can cause anxiety as a bus driver. So I just don't look at it. I tell myself, don't tell me if there's going to be snow. I'll just deal with it. Anyway. But, anyway.
So we brushed a little bit on, like, your childhood. What was your teenage years like? Like, what was that like for you? Set the scene a little bit. Like, what was it like? The year, like the feeling, the vibe.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, you look back and you think, wow, we had it so good, you know? And then at the time, you're like, everything's so dramatic. But, my early teens were awesome. They really were. And then I let things get to me. And then I just went down the tubes or whatever. I was never the smartest kid in class. Had a hard time learning stuff. And learning disabilities weren't much of a thing back then. But probably had one, And anyway, so I wasn't the smartest. I think my best GPA was my 9th grade year. And I probably had a 3.5. And I was pretty ecstatic about that. Didn't make cheerleader because of my grades. I would have been an awesome cheerleader. But it's just it wasn't a focus. So I wasn't smart. I was kind of I was popular in my early teens. I quit school in my late high school years. I let the stupid dramas get to me, and I played it out. And I started to smoke cigarettes and get into different worse crowds, because they do, and it'll lead you down the rabbit hole. And I wouldn't say I drank very much, but I drank enough to get myself in enough trouble,
right.
And then I just decided I was too far gone with school and stuff and just quit. And I went and got equivalent of a high school diploma, which got me into the military, got me what I needed. But and then I went back to college, so I actually rocked college, I think my brain was ready to learn, and it wanted to work hard. And it was just an age. I always called myself a late bloomer, not with, the menstruation cycle or whatever. It's pretty normal there if you want to consider it that way. But late bloomer as in didn't know what the heck I wanted to do necessarily. I had dreams in my head and thought that's what it was. But yeah. Oh, yes, I'm going to be married to a doctor with a picket fence. That was a little kid dream, okay? And be a housewife. That was an actual dream of mine. And that's not such a bad thing. Anyway, and then I was going to be a psychologist, live in Oregon with 2 dogs and never marry. And have a Mercedes-Benz, okay? And that would have been cool. But I don't regret it for the world because...
Hey, you do have 2 dogs.
I do. I have 2 dogs. And I've been to the ocean quite a few times. And I don't know if I want to live by the ocean anymore. But anyway, because I wouldn't appreciate it every day.
Right.
Every time I go. And I wouldn't have my beautiful daughter, who I'm talking with today. Yep. And I did have her early. That was my late teens. So that was interesting in itself. I was the one that got caught. And I wasn't really much of a person to have sex prior to that, mind you. But anyway, it's just one of those things. I was the one that got caught. And made the best of it.
Got caught in the teen pregnancy trap or what?
Well, people out there were having sex, but they never got caught. Makes sense.
Oh,
I got
okay.
pregnant.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't deny it when you're having a baby.
Right. No. And that was, because I was pregnant at 17, had you at 18, so that was a whole thing in itself, becoming a young man. And I don't think that bothered me one bit. It didn't. No, I wanted that connection of something that loved me. You know what I mean? That's what I was after. But.
Why do you think, I mean, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that you hadn't felt that or wanted that prior?
I don't know.
Did you just not have that connection with either of your parents or friends or family or?
Oh, no, I thought I had the best connection with Dad, but Mom wasn't around much. Like I said, she was mentally somewhere else. But I think she loved me. She was a kind person, but she just wasn't there. Been a little emotional lately.
No, it's okay. I mean, something that
I don't know why. It's been the last few days, just been up and down. I don't know why. I think it sounds stupid, but abandonment, kind of. He got married to a different woman, and just he was gone.
Yeah, mentally, physically, or
she was the type that wanted his whole attention. So, yeah, that was it.
Got a slight intermission there. Okay, so the last question that I asked was going into your military career a little bit.
How did that start?
Yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit.
Well, I was working for a computer company, and I was customer service at that time. I moved myself from the floor of building computers to customer service.
Oh, wonderful.
And it was great. It wasn't a bad job. I do good at customer service. I have my Libra rising, so I'm very balanced, and I'm always people pleasing. Anyway, no, I'm working on that. Anyway, but I had a stepsister who was in the military, and I looked at her life, and I thought, oh, she's not doing too bad, and whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to check into that a little bit more, because, I think I was approached once by a recruiter, and I was like, oh, okay. I thought about it. They tell you, oh, you can travel and do all this stuff. They tell you that stuff. Anyway, I sure did travel. I'm not going to say I didn't, but it wasn't like long extended periods of time in cool places, except, towards the end I got to do a little bit of that though. But I ended up joining at 23 years old. I had to leave you with Poppy and Nana, and she was a good stepmom at that time for me, and she really loved you, and so I left you with them for, well, it was a couple different batches of like 2 months at a time. So there was that, and I had to sign you away for a little bit, but anyways, in case I died during basic training or tech school. But anyway, so I started out in supply, and it was fun. That time in the military, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of good people. We were right in the middle of a lot of different wars. Desert Storm was wrapping up, whatnot, and nothing else had really broken out. So it was a good time. People were fun. I don't know. You go to work and chit chat, have a little extra longer breaks, stuff like that. And you get used to that. But then the pace certainly changed around 2003, was it? 2002, 3. Lots more deployments were starting to happen, whatnot. And I had very short deployments because in the Guard, I was actually full-time Guard. And so I just got to tell all those active folks, I appreciate everything you've done and did. and had to move a lot and deploy a lot longer than I had. But I tell you what, I made a good choice. You gotta admit that. Anyway, so sorry, but I did. But no, I've seen a lot of places. The thing is funny is I saw a lot of the airports, you know, and I still considered myself being able to say I was there. You look out the window, you see the pyramids, you know, you're flying over the Nile or whatever. And that was pretty cool, stuff like that. But you're going to these wonderful bases that you don't know what's going to happen. I think the worst one was Afghanistan for sure. It kind of got to you more than any other, got to me more than any others for sure.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, just kind of what you're seeing there and the reality of it. Because over here, you're in America. You go to Walmart. You go, you know what I mean? You get your coffee, whatever. You watch movies and whatnot. And, but it's real out there. You know, it's real. And it was happening. And I didn't know where those helicopters were gone. But you go on a flight line, you know, walk on the flight line going to work. And, because your housing wasn't that far from it. But anyway, and you see all the aircraft gone, all the helicopters, and you know, the whatever. I couldn't name all the helicopters, but off the top of my head, take me a minute. Anyhow, and you know they're fighting something. You know they're gone, and you know you're gonna see a lot more wounded people on your base. You know, either recovering or in transit to Germany, you know, the main hospital there. You do see it. And anyway, I've never had to be on the front lines. Known a few people that have. My brother was definitely one of those. And he was in Desert Storm. So, and that can change somebody. It's all of how you end up and want to be. You can pull yourself out of anything if you want to.
Right.
But anyhow, I fought a little bit different fight in the military. I won't go into too much detail.
Why not?
It's just not something I'm ready to open up to yet. It was a different fight, but I'll get there one day. Maybe another podcast when I'm ready. But anyhow, so with that, I mean, I ended my career. I ended up transferring over to civil engineering. I did the first sergeant thing. I think they just needed somebody, so I got hired. Whatever. It is kind of like babysitting, whatever. I'm not very good. I'm getting so much better now than I ever was, but at making, you know, giving the direction that was expected of me. I didn't see that I needed to be at that certain way, but they were like, you need to be tough and you need to just tell them this and this. I'm like, do I? You know? And I was like, that just wasn't me. And I wanted to quit at first. I was like, man, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But I went through the school and everything, so I made it work. It was a 3-year thing. And whatever. I made it work. We got through it. Nobody's perfect. And we all do what we can do. So, and all the people that thought that they would have been better than me at that job, never, ever, ever got there. So explain that, right? They never, if they didn't get hired, there's a reason for it.
Right.
There's a reason. Anyway, but yes, I was the spot to fill and whatever. So be it. I still made it work, and I still did whatever I could to make it work. And then towards the end, I knew it was time to get out. It wasn't the same military I came in with, and you know we were much faster paced. I don't know if something had to do with the internet again, you know, but just it seemed like we didn't have summer vacations. It was more of a training mission every single. You know, I couldn't do stuff with my kids. Couldn't do this. We were busy, long hours, and you're already working that 1 week in a month. You know, I mean, just didn't have time for nothing, and it caused a lot of strain. And I was in a very toxic squadron. It was just they bored me when I went in. I was like, no, I'm gonna make the best of it, you know, and just so optimistic and stupid. But anyway, I tried, and it was toxic, and I let things get to me. I do. So, yeah, or I did, whatever. And it took a while to get out. After I retired, it's like I wasn't sure what to do with myself. I tried to babysit the grandkids and stuff, and I was like, no, I just don't think that's my thing, But doesn't mean I don't love them babies, but just certain things, and you got to make choices and decisions as you go on in life.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely not a babysitter or a daycare worker or anything of that sort myself.
Yeah.
So we talked briefly about the childhood, your teenage years. We've talked about your career. There's 2 other subjects that I really want to kind of go into, and one of them is kind of like, what was it like? What was your single mom journey like?
My single mom journey, short. Because I mean, I had you at 7. Well, I was 17 and 18 when I had you. And by the time I met Fett, you were already 6 years old. That's not very long. It was special. And anyway, so you were when you were born and I had you, it was the happiest moment of my entire life ever. It will never get better than that ever. And I'm that way. I know you were freaked out, but you can see I have that picture. I was holding the phone.
Yeah.
And I still had blood right there. Anyway, that was just, there's nothing that can replace that ever. I know I'm just teary today. I was worried about that before we started, but I've been teary the last couple days. Maybe it's hormones, but God. Anyway, but then you just grow, and I feel like I could have been a lot better mom in a lot of ways. I was younger, and Nana helped a lot with you. I was lucky enough they babysat you a lot, so I could still go and do young kid things, I guess, because I was 20s, young 20s, whatever. So, but no, you were not there all the time. I'm not gonna.
I don't really remember them babysitting me for purposes other than you working.
Yeah, I did. I had to go to work. Sorry, I have tissues over there, but anyway, yeah. So, and then I was worried, because I had that stepmom that I didn't care for before Nana, and I was like, God, I'm not gonna be like her at all. Anyway, but I started seeing some things with that, like just allowing myself to be so absorbed with my husband. So I was like, I broke free from it. I don't know if you know. I mean, I started to be that way, but then I broke free. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so I made sure that I was giving you the attention you needed, and they weren't gonna steal it. But it took a little bit. It's not easy. It's not. There's things I learned along the way. A lot. I mean, even as a young mom, I watch you take care of your kids, your girls, and I'm like, God, I was not that way. Like just so nurturing. I was not very nurturing. I don't know. I was not. The cuddly type nurturing. Still am not. With the boys. But anyway, I was different in other ways. I would listen. I was attentive. But I was not a nurturer. Anyway, but then I met my husband at 6. We were about 6, and he had 2 kids. So it kind of made it nice because you got along really well with one of them really well. And
with Ashley.
Yeah, with Ashley. So anyway, so we just kind of became the family unit, and that was that. I know you have your things on that, but nobody's perfect, but we try.
And then you also got 2 more kids much later on.
Yeah. So we adopted my oldest stepdaughter's 2 sons, and now they're mine.
Yep. And that was when they were, how old were they? 1 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So then I ended up getting brothers when I was like almost out the gate.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
well, we thought we were all about done, raised our kids, whatever. Now we got some new
You
kiddos.
started all over.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're some of the best kids ever, though.
they are.
They're super awesome.
We're very lucky. They're healthy. They're great children.
Very helpful and respectful, and
Well, that's the thing. I said I would never, ever have kids with Fett because we got in so many fights about how to raise kids. We did, and anyway, so here we have them. We didn't have to birth them, and that's the thing. Somebody said once to me, when you adopt, they don't grow in your belly; they grow in your heart, and there's nothing more true than that.
yeah. Well, and one saying I've shared with you before that I feel like is really special about adoption, which I was very unhappy about having any more siblings, having to share you with anybody else.
You told me when you were a kid, you would throw them in the trash if I had more kids. And I was scared. I was not going to have more kids because I was really thinking, man, maybe I'll just go have sex with her dad and make him one more baby.
Nope.
Just to have 2 kids that from the same father. It crosses your mind. I mean, let's get real. But anyway.
Well, no, it's funny just the evolution of like how you feel. I don't know what it is, but opening my heart to people and like caring for them has always been hard for me. I don't know why. I think it might have been because of my dad and some abandonment issues with him. I don't know if that's it. I don't like to blame things on like daddy issues, but it could be that.
It's so hard to know. Exactly. Like, I don't really know what it was.
But I really feel like that's why I was so anti-siblings and anti, like, the boys at first. The boys, my adopted brothers. And, like, I was just like, no. Like, I can't care about them, like, the way that I'm supposed to. Like, that was, like, my mental status on all of it. But now it's just like it's the complete opposite. Now I'm just like it's like I would die for them.
Yep.
It's really weird, that evolution. But I mean, I really rejected it for a long time, and hopefully there's listeners out there who can relate and I'm not just a shitty person.
Nope.
But
nope, you're not.
I didn't well, and part of it I think also was like when you did get married, I was just like, no, that's my mom, and
Yep.
so I was just like, I'm not going to share her with anybody else. And then I had to. And both situations were forced, like it's not that I was probably ever going to just be willingly like, here's my mom. But I think just the force probably made me a little bit more rejective, if that's a word. But yeah, so I now I'm very happy that they're in my life, and I'm very protective over them, like,
Mm-hmm.
and their futures and anybody like hurting them like emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
in their life.
Yep. Yes.
It's weird. It's weird how you go
Isn't
through
that
those.
weird? I
those
think
evolutions.
it's life lessons we're supposed to learn. And I don't,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know exactly what, I can't pinpoint like my teen years, why I went off the deep end, I don't know. Maybe it was my daddy issues or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's something that it's supposed to happen in life. And I'm supposed to learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's why. So it's all of a sudden the feed, like today, I was a little whimpery, Yesterday I was whimpery too. It was the moon. It was the full moon in Cancer, whatever. That was supposed to have something to do with my career. But actually, come to think about it, Cancer is the mother. And that's my rising. So I'm definitely a mother. I got kids delivered to me. I've had children. And I didn't even think I was ever going to have children. I'm sorry. I just didn't think I was ever going to have children. But it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a mother. And that's another life lesson, whatever. And I'm a great grandma. I'm a little more distant now, but I'm still a great grandma.
Well, you're not a great grandma. You are a wonderful grandma, but you're not a
I'm
great
not a great
grandma.
No. No, I'm not a great
My kids
grandma.
are too little.
Yeah. No. But
No, they adore you.
yeah.
Well, and then my youngest looks exactly like you.
Yes.
I mean, especially now because she has the exact same
I
haircut.
know, it was so cute. So
I did
cute.
it, by the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, and it wasn't intentional. It just kind of came out that way. I'm like, oh my gosh, you look exactly like my mom.
I love them. But anyway. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. I think I fantasized about being a grandma. Even when the boys were being born, I was so excited to be a grandma. I was 33 freaking years old. And I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to be a grandma. Yeah. So, but then when it happened, it's like, it's kind of weird, Am I really that excited? I don't know. It's a lot of work, But anyway, but it's not like you just have the kids and get them out. Not in whatever, but then everything changes and evolves, and like you, we weren't excited at first, maybe, and I didn't want to say too much to you, Eve, and I was like, I don't know if I'm that great of a grandma because I don't know if I want to babysit. I don't know if I want to watch my kid. You know what I mean? But I did it, and it just is some funny how things still evolve, and then you're like, oh my god, those little girls are just mean everything, and Ashley's little boys are starting to get my little heartstrings. You know what I mean? Because I haven't been able to be around them as much.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, for sure. No, my experience becoming a mom was different than yours.
mm-hmm.
I was, I don't know, like, not that anyone like goes into having kids and was like, I'm gonna be a single parent. Well, some people do, I guess, but that was not what I want. I didn't even want kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want kids. And then it was like the thought popped into my head, like, okay, maybe one day I want kids. And I swear to God, this is not an over exaggeration. I was pregnant like the next month. I was like, that's not what I meant, universe. Not what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
But there I was, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna make the best of this situation and whatnot. But my situation was interesting. It was unorthodox.
Yeah.
My situation was unorthodox,
right.
Which is partly why I called this Unorthodox
mm-hmm.
Gypsy.
Yep.
And it was very bittersweet. The whole thing was bittersweet down to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're at the end, but like it was very bittersweet from the moment that I found out that I was gonna be a mom to the moment that she came into the world. It was just all very bittersweet. And I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I remember holding her for the first time and I was just like, hi, I'm your mom.
Yeah, you didn't have that quiet excitement. I got a little worried. I was like, oh no, she's already having that after birth depression thing. I was like, oh no.
Postpartum depression?
Yes.
I didn't have postpartum depression. I just had some incredible anxiety. I was just like, oh my God, like I'm your mom, you're real, oh God. I have to take care of you, I have to keep you alive. But yeah, no, she changed everything for me.
Yeah.
The best ways. But yeah, I mean I was definitely terrified and I didn't know what the hell to do. Not that anyone ever really does, but you had a lot more confidence in your ability, like right off the get. Whereas like I questioned everything I did.
And that is so funny. And that goes back to the technology thing. I didn't have Google. I had one book that I read religiously during my pregnancy. And I really was trying to stick to that, stick to that book. There's no way it works that way. No. And then you give up after a while and you're just like, I'm just going to do it.
Yep. Just gotta do what you gotta do.
And I didn't have Google to check up every damn symptom that was happening to my baby.
Well, Google definitely made parenting so much harder. Easier in some ways, but harder in a lot of other ways because I was just like...
Because everything comes up on Google.
Well, yeah, it's just like, you can't give them too much water or it'll kill them. But you gotta give them a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I need it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's...
Tea spilled some stuff.
I
need that. So yeah, so we talked about your life, single parenting, your military career. Mm-hmm. We've talked about a lot of various different things. But I also wanted to talk a little bit. We've had a lot of these conversations, and this is something we can elaborate in another episode if you want as well. But just some otherworldly things, you know, like astrology, like your journey into astrology, I feel like is something I want to talk about a little bit, because it's something I feel like a lot of people can relate to, is kind of living up to certain expectations and then just kind of allowing yourself to dive in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, I was only Catholic in Utah. Well, yes, being raised Catholic and astrology doesn't mix. Religion and astrology doesn't mix because of what it says in the Bible in a couple spots. But it probably was rewritten by men, for men. No, against men. I love men. But I'm just saying. And I need men in my life.
By
I'm just
man,
saying,
rather. How about man?
the power trip of, society and where it was going. I feel it was just written beneficially to get money for churches and whatnot. So, of course, Catholicism and Catholic Church was the first Christian church, and they all branched out from there. But my point is that yeah, I can go into that. That brought me down a rabbit trail in itself when I was so, my body and brain just wanted to learn astrology. It was so into, I used to always buy those astrographs in the store, and I was fascinated by them. Didn't quite understand what they meant by moon, trine, sun, blah, 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 until later. And so the internet, of course, allowed that to happen for me. The internet brought everything together for me. And I wouldn't allow myself to have ever done that if my father was still alive, because I felt like it would have been disgraceful to him. Because he got me out of the Protestant churches I was visiting. I'm such a seeker. I'm a spiritual seeker. And I was going to different churches just to see if I would like it better, or why people say that's the right one or whatnot. And I've been to Mormon churches as a child, so I kind of know what to expect from that. All my Mormon friends wanted to convert me. And anyways, I'm probably an honorary Mormon, just so you know. But really what happened was I was watching Facebook, and a bunch of ads came on, and looking at the moon sign, and I will give credit to Deborah Silverman. She captured my attention, and I looked up her astrology course, and I learned astrology. And I went to Colorado, and I did a level 3 over there, and I was a little hard on myself that day too. She was super hard on me, but anyway, but I learned it, and I'm still learning. That's something you can you'll never know it all, but it's definitely a passion of mine. And I can do a chart. I can cast a chart. Maybe I'm a witch. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know if I am. But anyway, I've done so much different of my own research. I'm finding my own truths, on my own discernments on everything. And I don't feel the insecurities that God hates me for it. I don't, and I do believe in God. And I do believe in Jesus Christ. And so that's kind of where that came from. That was 2015 that I actually went through that course. And so I was a little older and whatnot. My hat goes off to some of the people that are just able to know what they want to do so young. And, oh man, I didn't know. I was making a living for a long time, and that's how I was raised, and kind of what I believed. You just had to go to work and make it work for you and stuff. So I did that. And
you didn't just go to work, though. You made it an entire career, like many years of it.
I did. I sure did. And it paid off. I'm happy I did it. And I the cliche of I'm so patriotic and blah blah blah. No, I actually did it for the money. I'm gonna be honest with you. That doesn't mean I'm not patriotic. That I don't love my country, etc. It wasn't until I was in the middle of my career that I became super patriotic. And, you know, just the sound of the American anthem can bring tears to my eyes. You know what I mean? Oh, jeez, everything can today. But, you know, in general.
And for the record, it is pretty abnormal for you to cry.
It is very abnormal for me to cry.
Like, I was just telling Justin the other day, I was just like, I think I can count on both hands, like how many times I've actually seen my mom cry.
Yeah.
Like, actually seen you cry.
Yeah.
Like, not just a little bloop, but like cry.
Yeah.
And so
things change. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what it was, because I've noticed it just in the past couple of days. God, I am whimpery.
I was having something like that a couple weeks ago, though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we went and saw the new Avatar movie, and I was like crying through the whole thing, and I'm like, "Jeez, Louise, what is going on?"
The new, I've heard about the boys.
It's really good.
Is it?
It is.
But boys were talking about it. Maybe we'll go see that sometime for their birthday. I don't know. I'm gonna take them to a basketball game.
Oh, that's
really. I love watching them play. Anyway, so I want to do a college ball game or something.
They like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So your story about like kind of being attracted to astrology super young, like I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some similarities because I also was put into private Catholic school.
Oh no, I was there, you know, for a long time. I was trying to maintain that, and then I even was like looking into, and it wasn't until, you know, I got married to a non-Catholic, and you know, we were going through the classes. He was supposed to become Catholic before I could even marry in the church, and so Poppy, I was trying to figure all that out to try to have a wedding. We never had a wedding, and that's one of my little regrets. I just wish I would have had a normal wedding, I think, you know, and had Poppy give me away, but no, never happened. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't want to. He would get so upset if I tried any other churches too. I just didn't feel comfortable, and I'm sorry if this makes anyone mad. If anyone ever sees this that is from my father's lineage, but I'm just, you know, I can't 100% be a full-fledged Catholic, you know. I tried, and then we went to Methodist church, you know, the boys became Methodist, and that was probably the longest I taught Sunday school, you know. I mean, who would have ever thought I would have done that? And I don't know, I always get insecure, like I'm not good enough, and they didn't really like me. But anyway, so be it, you know. Yeah.
Well,
I'm just a seeker.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't feel like you have to apologize to anyone for just living your life and being you.
I shouldn't have to.
No.
But I really shouldn't. I think, you know, I'm sure I've lost friends over that. I'm sure of it. But
are they friends though? If they,
I guess not.
That's something that I feel like I'm working really hard to do. Like last year was a big turning point. 2022 was a big turning point. Like a lot of mental work, like living my life for me, you know, what really makes me tick, you know, those sorts of things, and trying to be unapologetic about just living my fucking life, you know, to whoever.
I know.
And
I'm a work in progress over that too. I let fourth graders still get to me. So just go ahead, keep going. I do.
Well, my point is not like I'm better than thou in any way, shape, or form. It's just like it can always be done, and it's always a work in progress. It's not like something that's like it happens one day and you got it for the rest of your life.
No, oh my God,
you know,
no, it keeps coming and haunting you. Yeah, it sure does. But yeah, no, you guys have done really good. Really awesome. That's awesome. I think I'm working on it. I'm not as extreme. I'm a little older, and like here I am in my RV, you know. We sold the house. We bought some land, and we're gonna build. And you know, I hate RV life. Can't stand it. You know what I hate the most? Oh, this occurred to me the other day. This is my biggest complaint with RV life. Going out the door.
Yeah.
I hate those steps.
I know. And that's why so many people who are stationary build those porches.
Yep.
It's for that reason.
Yeah. And if I have to do that when we are able to move to the land out of the RV park, when we get the rest of the utilities and all that, I'm definitely going to build one of those little decks. Yeah. But Anyway, that's one of my biggest things. Can't walk around. I'm not going to go into that. I know many people are happy in their RVs, and you guys have made yours work. Like, you've redid it functionally. And I'm just like, I haven't even made my backsplash yet that I was talking about, you know. But I think we're just in hibernation mode right now. And
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that. I really love to just hibernate in the winter a little bit. I love going out for my walks. You know, I want to get snowshoes. I want to get some. What did I say? What did I get? Oh, maybe cross country skis. I don't know, something to keep me fit. And I like getting out in the air. You know, I don't mind cold weather, and I think snow's beautiful, and I like having seasons. But maybe I'm just claustrophobic. I don't know. I think
You've always needed space.
I do. Yeah. I don't feel like I can even get dressed easily. You know? I don't have a tiny bedroom.
Like in
I'm
a tent.
a whiner. I just feel like whiny. But because I feel unappreciative with it. But I think you just kind of know what you want, and you just need to start going for it then, instead of complaining. So that's what we're doing. Just gonna take a little time.
Yeah. Well, and I don't feel it should be brushed off that you guys are actually fulfilling a dream.
Yeah.
You know, like you're starting from scratch. You're
Mhm.
building up a legacy, maybe.
Possibly.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you purchased that property, you guys have already done a lot of work to it, and you guys just got it this summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And late summer. And you've already done a lot, and I don't know, like to say baby steps I think is still pretty small. Like I feel like you're taking adolescent steps.
Yes.
You know?
Teenager steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are.
Into the right direction of making your dreams manifested, which is a lot more than a lot of other people can say.
Yeah. You know, that's right. And for some reason or some rhyme, we're able to financially, you know, financially able to. We set ourselves up in a direction and work towards it, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
I sometimes, and I don't know if I should feel, I just feel guilty for being, you know, having given what I have on the earth. And they say don't look at I get it. Don't look at earthly possessions, whatever. But you know what? If a house makes you happy while you're on earth, then by golly, go make yourself a house.
Yeah.
You know, the way you want it. And whatever, if you're able to. I just feel unappreciated. I have a phenomenal camper, you know, but I don't. It just needs to be more square. You know? I think I could make it more functional.
It's the long rectangle.
It's the longness, yeah. But and there's different. Yeah, we can go on that later. There's different floor plans I could have got, but we're just. It is what it is, and I think I'm done putting down my beautiful little camper because it's not gonna. It's done well. It's very well insulated, etc. And we're staying at a hot springs, you know, place. It's not, we're in the trailer court part of it, so it's a little tight. I'm not used to having very close neighbors. I've been very fortunate in my life as to where I live. But too close. I like my privacy. You know, look at where we bought. Hopefully those neighbors don't build up high. Anyway, I don't. We just got new neighbors right after we bought it, so. But they seem pretty nice. They're young, but.
So, would you say it's like humbling? I mean, it's challenging for sure, but would you say it's humbling?
I've been humbled way different ways than this. No, I feel like I'm in survival mode.
Yeah.
I don't know if I call it humbling. I think it's when you get embarrassed and you have to admit your wrongs that you're humbled. And I don't feel like we made a wrong, you know? That's my humbleness. But, I guess I see what you're saying with humble. People are like, oh, my humble belongings or whatever. But no, because this is fancy. I just feel maybe a little spoiled, you know. But I'm getting to the age to where I don't want to live a certain way if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I think I'd be different if I had to. And I'd make it work. Whatever. I'd start moving stuff around my camper. like move that thing. Anyway, you know where I'm going. But no, it's not humbling to me. It's just more of I'm excited and I'll appreciate the space, you know. And I'm really defining what I can live, how much less. I got rid of a lot of stuff in the last move, and I was so happy for that. You know, that was good. And I don't miss it. Everything. My stuff's still sitting in Conex, and I'm like, do I even need it later? You know, I could just start fresh. But there's pictures and stuff that I still have, and I really need to start developing pictures. Is what I need to do. People don't do that anymore. But well, they do. I did see a couple at Walgreens, you know, making the pictures come out of the machine. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that a lot in Addie's young life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Justin was talking about printing off all the pictures and stuff that we have, and I was just like, yeah, but where are we going to put it? Because we also live in an RV.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I'll have to wait till we get a house to do that, because I don't want to have like 7 boxes of pictures underneath of my bed.
Mm-hmm. That's my only storage up there. So,
or that
the loft.
Yeah, I always forget about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wind down, I just want to ask, like, well, okay, actually, I want to say, I feel like throughout this interview, or not interview, but conversation, like, you've kind of put yourself down a lot. And I feel like it is important to note that, like, you should be very proud. Like, you've accomplished a lot in your life, and you have exceeded expectations, whatever expectations there might have been in your life. You have excelled in each of those spots that you like kind of like low-key put yourself down. Like, you've actually excelled in those spots. Like parenting, you know, being a single parent, your career.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're a gypsy like me, but you still stayed in one spot, which is a hell of a lot better than I can ever say for myself, because you actually like stayed in a career forever.
Mm-hmm.
One that you weren't necessarily happy with for a long time. I mean, you were happy at one point, but you still stuck it out. So
yeah, I did. Yep. No, I did 22 years. Thank you for that. Yeah. But I you know, you asked me, you're like, you told me ahead of time. You didn't tell me exactly what's going to happen, but you said, I'm going to ask you one word that describes yourself. And I remember I tell you, I'm going to have to look that one up to see if I can pronounce it. Well, that's not it. Anyway, but you know, the funniest thing is the word is enduring.
Enduring.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would say that fits.
And somebody told me that, oh man, a gal I worked with in the military, we shared an office, and that was a good time. She says that, and I had to tell her one word, and I can't remember what I told her now. But she called me enduring. She probably didn't forget the word I told her either, but anyway, she called me enduring, and it stuck with me. So,
yeah, I think it fits for sure. Definitely fits. That is a really accurate representation. I'm just thinking about like you as a person, and because I know you and the listeners don't, but hopefully they have a little bit better interpretation. But yeah, no, like you're a hard worker too.
Thank you.
Like when you're physically doing something, like you don't stop till it's done, and you keep going, and then it makes me feel like a fucking wimp.
It's no Mars and Taurus. I have Mars and I have Mars and Taurus. So yeah.
Well, my Mars is not there.
Slow, steady. Mm-hmm. No, yours is Pisces, I think.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
But we're both 8th house.
So Mars and Pisces, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, man, kind of aloof sometimes.
It's okay, but that's where this comes in.
Yeah, well, for sure. Like,
you're making dreams a reality.
Yeah, that is my thing. I do well, and I like to live unorthodox. I like to do the oddball things, not the traditional. Nothing about me is traditional, I don't think.
No, and that's the funny, you know, like I've always told you, I've strived to be normal because I didn't have the most normal childhood. I had, you know, like the mother that stood out as the, I don't know, I guess you would watch like Little Rascals, see the mom smoking the cigarette or whatever. There was my mom, only and we were kind of the run around. We didn't have a whole lot of rules growing up and stuff, so we kind of free for all, whatever, because she wasn't available, and she wasn't this. No, kids, I'm going to make you peanut butter sandwiches. No, fuck that. Oh,
No,
anyway,
you're fine.
yeah. So no, we just didn't have that kind of upbringing. Where the heck was I going?
Well, I mean, we were kind of talking about like, what were we talking about?
I know. That's my Mercury and Aquarius.
Oh, we were talking about the non-traditional and like how I don't want to be traditional, and you were striving to normal.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would strive for it, and I was gonna bring you up so normal, and I was gonna have the nice home. You were gonna have the best clothes, and I was gonna do your hair, and I did your hair.
That's pretty accurate. I did have a very normal.
I tried my best to make it like, I'm making you some lunch, honey. And stuff like that. And so, but that's what I wanted, and I would babysit. I babysat these kids growing up, and that's how their parents were, and that's where I attached. And that's what I want to do. You can make your own life. It doesn't matter how you're brought up.
Right? No,
and I did,
sure.
and I didn't even know that saying until I was already doing it. I saw how I was idealistic, how I wanted to have a family after that and whatnot, and make it perfect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I want those same ideals sort of for like my family, but the normal thing is not something that I strive for, like at all. I don't strive for normalcy. I don't strive that for my kids either. Addie is a little bit more like you. Like, she likes things a little bit more idealistic, and that's fine. I give it to her the best that I can.
The older she gets, the more I see myself with her.
Yeah. No, she likes the structure. She likes the normal day-to-day. She, she definitely fits that mold a little bit more, which is why I was really worried about transitioning her life like we did. But we're definitely making the best of it. And she's also just too smart for the world. So it's like I didn't want her to be hindered by the nuances of average.
Everybody says their kids are smart, but I give it to her.
Yeah.
Because she was beyond where she was. And that's, the kids could not take it. So they were, she was getting picked on a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't be like her.
She had emotional intelligence that other people didn't, or other kids, I should say, didn't.
Yeah.
But it was more than that. Like, she was carrying her class's test scores all by herself, pretty much. And I just was like, okay, this is already starting in first grade. What is this going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yep. No, she was always above, though. She was always that way.
Yeah, she was born.
You have worked with her, too. You're not a mom that's absorbed in herself. You're a mom that is going to stop and go, hey, look at this, and this is why. And you're a born teacher, and you're like, this is why this is this way. And you don't have to make a big deal. You don't have to keep going on and on. But she learns it and picks it up and goes on, So that's why. And that's why the stuff I look at you, I'm like, man, if I would have done that. I just made sure you got into a decent school, so I didn't, so you could be that smart kid. Because I wasn't that smart kid. And you got really good grades. So I was like, that was my path.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I did get really good grades. Yeah. And I did really well in any school that I was at. There were some teachers that were harder than others, but I did do pretty good, for sure. Mm-hmm. The normalcy thing was like, and it's so weird to me because like, my normal, like, I truly felt like that's how it was for everybody.
Yeah.
And it was so normal and so pleasant that it's like sometimes I see how other people grow up and I was just like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. It's like
her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had more of that, but like him, he was able to climb himself out of it.
Yeah. I mean, with
it took a lot, but you know what I mean? You choose what you want.
Yeah.
And I made some bad choices in here and there, and it took a while to come out of it. I didn't have to, I got caught pregnant, but no, I didn't get a DUI. You know what I mean? So there's certain good things there, but I wasn't horribly criticized when I got pregnant, but there was definitely times where I was made fun of. I mean, it was blatant, you know, but whatever. I
Yeah.
made the best of it. And damn, I got my figure back after 4 months.
Yeah,
anyway.
you did. That's bullshit.
Well, I don't know. I think I have Poppy's, the ants. I had their metabolism, not now, but definitely that helped me.
Well, Addie, yeah, I did really well after her. Like, I
Mhm.
looked at my pictures, I was like, oh yeah, I was pretty hard on myself because I look pretty good. But Jackie, I'm still suffering. I'm still suffering.
You get there. I think there's something, and you know, but you're working your health out right now.
Yeah.
I did. Well,
There's definitely other factors involved there.
Yeah. I'm not worried. I worry. I don't want it to have long-term effects. So that's why,
Are you talking like the ablation?
Well, no, I want you to figure it out now instead of later.
Oh, yeah. No, me too.
Mhm.
I feel like I waited too long, honestly. But I also don't feel like anyone would have taken me seriously had I not been where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Because it was already such a hard hassle to get into a cardiologist
Mhm.
at my age. Because
Right.
they're like, oh, you're fine. It's just anxiety. I can't tell you how many times I heard that.
I know.
I was like, this isn't anxiety. I have anxiety, and that's not what this feels like.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so as we wind down, I'm gonna finish with one last question and then we'll call it good. But where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh boy. Everything was so cut out 10 years ago for me. I kind of knew exactly the timeline. Well, I guess my hopes are just comfortably financial, just not rich, just comfortable. Maintaining, whatever I got. It's my yard, whether it's, my health, whatever. Maintaining. So comfortable maintaining, and I would say more balance. Yeah. Because I'm just a bus driver, but yet I took on sub teaching and all that. I gotta cut back. They probably won't ever call me back anyway. That's why I say I was like, yeah, they probably didn't really like me anyway. I had a couple teachers and haven't been called back yet, and that's okay. But I try not to be too hard on myself because I'm like, oh no, I did bad, but I didn't. I probably did too good. That's the thing, I was because I asked the kids later, and they're like, yeah, this teacher does that, and I was like, does your other sub that they keep calling, is she this way? Is she this way? I was comparing or whatever, and stuff I would have done. She had one more really good one, is like come up with games when the class is all done with stuff, because they go crazy on their Chromebooks. But anyway, so I just more balance of kind of getting away, maybe like I don't like tons of long trips anymore. I'm a homebody. I don't mind being home. Especially when I made it comfortable and the way I like it. Why? What's wrong with that? I do like to have short trips, go vacation, whatever, a little bit more of that. I think my kids, the boys, will be older. I'll be off visiting them somewhere. I have this feeling that they're not going to stick around forever here, and I'll go visit them. Just road trips, I think, is what I'm after. But somewhere to go home to, and be comfortable. Yeah, comfort.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you still see yourself working?
Probably not. I have this goal in mind. I'm in a bus drive anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and I'll probably be done with that. And I know I've got to get a hip replacement, and I think after that's done, I'll probably just fully retire and call it good. But I got to, the money is, I'm not going to say it's nothing, because it's a little bit extra money, and I like it, and I like being out there. I love bus driving. who can say? I mean, a lot of bus drivers actually say that. They do. And that's why they do it for so long. You see those people have done it. I'm like, I see it now. I would have hated it before. I used to say, I'm never going to be a bus driver with screaming, yelling kids.
I know.
No, funny. Never say never. Or forever. But anyhow, that's where I'm at. I just, a lot of comfort comes into that next 10 years. I want to be comfortable and stable. Stable life. You know, with the health, finances, and just balance.
I like it. You've said it twice now in this podcast, and I think I might incorporate this into future podcasts, but like just a quote that you live by. And I think yours is never say never or forever.
Probably, you're right.
I like it.
Yeah.
Which I never really understood until I got older, but it does make sense. Because there's a lot of things that I'm like, I'm never going to do this. And well, sure enough, the universe is like, ha ha, sucker.
There you go. Yeah. Forever isn't, it's, you know, think about that word. And then never, every time I've said never in my life, it's almost like those are my lesson days. You know, if you say never, that's going to happen. You know, so I just like, oh, shoot, I just said never. Okay, I will not. You know, I change it.
Yeah.
But
well, I loved having you on the podcast, and
Thank
I
you.
think if you're up for it, I would like to do a future podcast where we just kind of dive into more occulty type things, like just thoughts, like because we've had these really deep conversations before, just like about duality and you know, a little bit further into like a discussion, if you will, on opinions or views on some of those things. Just like, I mean, because we've gotten pretty far, like, I mean, speaking about like heaven and hell and the devil and, you know, things like that, like and just those concepts, not so much like, it's just more or less like what that means and whatnot. And then also we've also talked a little bit, a lot of it, I should say, just you know, the concepts of multiverses and reality, and if there was nothing, if it was something, you know. Like I definitely want to go deeper into those conversations. So a little less about like going too deep with you, but more going deep up here, you know, just like our thoughts and stuff, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, I probably won't cry. Yeah.
Well, you never say never.
That's right. I said I probably won't. Anyway, yeah, I'm game for that. Those are my favorite conversations.
It is hard to talk about yourself.
Oh.
It is hard. But you know, it's also like there's so many people out there that like can relate, you know, not you say that, but they can relate to concepts. Not necessarily the exact story, but they can relate to the concepts of enduring, you know, all like, you know,
I'm not saying I'm all that just because I've endured, but I think because I'm going to keep going and keep pressing on. You know, I don't give up.
That's a good message to send.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for coming on to the show.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for letting us do it in here because I don't have the studio yet. All right. Well, that's all for today, and we will see you again on another episode of Unorthodox Gypsy.
Anyway.